Hey everyone, welcome back to another reformed Liam video here on the channel, and in today's video I want to talk about the PvP meta and kind of about how the entire community is feeling. Some people really like this update and some people really don't like this update. In today's video we're going to take an in-depth look at everything in the meta and try to understand why both players are, either happy or not happy. And the first thing I want to start this video off with, which I think almost everyone in the community can agree with, is KingStyle is taking way too long to update the meta or make simple fixes to the game. Okay, so I'm not talking about stuff that's like an entire system overhaul, like reworking the entire shads like they did this update. I'm talking about stuff that has been in the game for like a year or more that is extremely oppressive and, doesn't really make any sense. So, that could be stuff like Stormelf, Scales of Destiny on a balance, all that stuff. Clearly, just very simple changes KI could make to the meta. So right off the bat here, I just want to talk about Scales and Stormelf, which is the two examples I listed. Scales obviously is well above balanced damage per pip, and it's a triple hit, so like you can't actually counter it. This spell alone, including a card like Rainbow Serpent, is still what is making balance the #1 school right now this update, because you just do so much damage, you hardly take any, and your counters for everything are so damn good. So in my opinion, and I think a lot of the other community members' opinions, is if something is this oppressive, you probably should just ban it. And what KingStyle is doing right now is, instead of just banning it right away, they're trying to overhaul an entire school pip system audit, which would then indirectly nerf Scales in a sense, right? And there's some people in the Wizard who are like, oh, well, aren't all school pip cards broken then? Like, let's take Catch of the Day and Scales of Destiny, or what's another like really good school pip card? Headless Horseman, I guess, right? Spells like that, right? The thing with Headless Horseman and Catch of the Day is there are counters in the game for that. Like, if you catch, you can Enfeeble, you could Skeletal Dragon, you could Ice Wyvern, you could Banshee, or with Headless, you could Evil Snowman, or Stone Colossus, stuff like that. But with cards that are just blatantly above damage per pip, so stuff like Scales, Winter Moon, Ninja Pigs, a lot of people are upset about those because this entire audit is indirectly going to nerf Ice and Myth, Ninja Pigs, and Winter Moon. I just gotta say, I'm not a fan of them doing this whole entire system audit when it's clearly just like one or two spells that are extremely oppressive and making the game unfun and unplayable for a lot of people. So yeah, they could still do that entire system audit if they want, but it's going to take forever when they could simply just make a no PvP symbol on these cards to actually make the meta progress and make the game fun again. Or what they could have simply done is be like, okay, the cards that aren't counterable, like Winter Moon, Ninja Pigs, and Scale of Destiny, because they don't have utility, it just goes into above damage per pip, we'll just take those out of the game or audit them and put utility on them like the other spells. That's a very simple thing, and they could have just done that. But yeah, I wanted to start off the video with something pretty clear like that, because I think for the most part, the entire community can agree that things are just too slow right now. And yes, some things might need an entire system audit, but some blatantly oppressive stuff that's been in the game for a very long time really needs to get out of here. Anyways, let's get on with a couple more things here. I actually watched Sauce's recent video. I had some people message me about it, being like, oh, Sauce is complaining about Stormelf again, and whatnot. And in today's video, I do want to talk about that as well, because a lot of people are like, oh, Liam, like, you love Stormelf, like, that's a joke, lol, right? And obviously, yeah, I like Stormelf. It's pretty OP on a Storm, you know. But at the same time, I have the maturity to understand, yeah, this should probably not be in the game. You get 3 copies of a card that is Storm TPP, and it's an insanely good, shield breaker, shield tempo move. I've made it very clear, both on my stream, in the Wizard, and I feel like in my videos, that The best thing they could do is get rid of Storm Elf, but then fix Storm dual schooling. Because the issue with Storm Elf, right, is if you just simply ban Storm Elf, like let's say tomorrow, right, but you don't actually fix the Storm dual school stats, there basically is no school left over. Ice would beat you because your fire cards don't work since you can't dual school. Death would beat you because that's like a top 3 worst matchup in the game. Balance would beat you because you just simply couldn't have enough pressure compared to the balanced skills and judgment, stuff like that. Life Jades would beat you as well because they'll just pack shields every turn and brace every turn. Fire would beat you because they could just spam Fire Golem as well and you can't Storm Elf anymore. And because you can't Fire Elf or Elephant to do damage because the dual school isn't there, Fire would beat Storm as well. And a good Myth player would almost always beat a good Storm player without Storm Elf in the game. So, if you simply just get rid of Storm Elf, you would essentially make the school as unplayable as Ice, if not more unplayable than Ice. And again, I want to make this clear, I do not want Storm Elf in the game. I would much prefer that I actually have to go into Fire, use my stats, and, make it make sense to counter shields. I much prefer that. But at the same time, you have to recognize that math does not add up for Storm Dual School. It's just objectively terrible compared to the other schools. So the only thing KI could do to fix Storm Dual School is essentially nerf the 6 others down to where Storm is at, or buffs Storm Dual School to be equally competitive as the 6 others. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about are Jades. So, I have not seen one single legit life player this update, and people said this would happen, right? People are just gonna Jade if they can't play aggro life anymore, and that's kind of what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of turtle strats with like gnomes and adapt. We're also seeing a lot of liths and liars, which basically means they're cosplaying, they're being a fire or a myth on a life, but it's just better because they can't die and they can heal forever, and the counters won't work on them. And I think it is pretty sad that like I said, I have not played one single regular legit life player this update. They've all either been cosplaying or flat out just healing and not hitting. The other day on my stream, I was on my fire against a life wizard who was just jading over and over. They literally didn't hit me a single time, and they were shuffled. They were shuffled without hitting me a single time. Like, what are we doing here? And yes, I am packing the counters, but the thing is, the counters aren't going to work against somebody who understands why jading works in the first place, right? You can just out-heal and out-tank the counters because of the no copy limit and how high the healing is. A good player versus a bad Jade, a good player is going to win that, but an equally skilled Jade against an equally good player, the Jade, they're either just going to win by making you flee, or it's going to be a timer game because we both run out of cards. It's just not going to happen. So KI also really needs to get that heal cap in the game, right? They said they're going to make a heal cap so people can't Jade like this anymore, which, is great and all. I hope it's just low enough to the point where, like, we don't have to do a 15,000 damage twice, that would be a little insane. A couple of other things as well. We have Fire Dots and Raging Bull, right? Raging Bull made it into the game. I had an insane game with Raging Bull against a balance. Perfectly highlights why the card is insanely broken. I think last time I streamed, I may make that into a video. Still, I'm not sure. But, Dots and Fires in general, still incredibly OP right now. Hands down, the 3 best schools in the game right now are Balance, Fire, and Storm. Balance, Fire, and Storm all have one bad matchup. For Balance, your bad matchup is Myth, which you can still beat, by the way, if you set hard enough. Fire, your one bad matchup is Storm, but you got buffed with FFA, so you actually have a better fighting chance now. I think Fire just haven't adapted yet. And Storm, your only terrible, like, unplayable matchup is when you go against Death. Storm just needs to get Elf out of the game. You need to get the dual school in the game so you can actually, fix the game and make it make sense and, update the meta, make it refreshing for everyone, including Storm players like myself. Fire Dots, you either need to make the counters better, which I don't think they want to do because we've seen what Fire's like when dot counters are really oppressive, right? They just can't play the game at all. So I guess they'd have to look at cards like a Freet or, Bull, Scion, or look at removing the extra damage you get on a dot, maybe. And for Balance, I mean, that school is just too good at countering everything. Like, you don't really even need a dot counter because Chimera is so broken and Gearhead is so broken. Bracing Chameleon got a buff with Solenopolis, still don't know why. the entire community complained about that prior to the update, and it got buffed, so that's kind of crazy. Gaze of Fate also got buffed this update for balance as well, and then they have their 3 cards above damage per pip, which is Judge, Skills, and Rainbow Serpent. So yeah, I mean, like I said at the start of the video here, I think the entire community is just kind of waiting on change, you know, and I think it is okay if KI wants to do like a whole system overall, but when we have stuff like problems in the game for a year, like Storm Elf, you know, Scales, Judge, you know, it could go on, right? Just consistent long term cards that are problematic, please just hotfix them out of the game and keep working on that system overhaul in the background. Because if you don't, it's just going to feel like a prison for the people who actually want to play the game and have fun on the game. And I know the devs love to say, oh, well, PvP isn't the game. And listen, I understand that, but at the same time, y'all said you were going to do better, like, what, a couple of years ago. I'm not trying to be an asshole here, I know, because I'm trying to be reformed and stuff, but you know, on average, still, we're getting about one big meta shift a year, roughly. At the rate we are, the current trajectory right now we're on, it's one different meta a year. That's what it is, or like every 10 months. I'm just gonna round up to a year, you know? But, like, that's just not acceptable still. I'm sorry. And especially when it's simple changes like getting rid of skills, maybe Storm Elf, stuff like that. There really is no excuse. Just hotfix it out of the game. Anyways, that's everything I got for the video today, y'all. I just thought I'd make a video about it and offer my 2 cents on it because I do think this is a serious problem. And it does need to be talked about and addressed by KI as well because, like, this is just not acceptable, you know? And especially if you're a paying member, right? I stopped paying membership a long time ago because, you know, I thought about it. I was just like, what am I paying a membership for if they're not actually updating the game? You know, and if you do PvP, you know, what's the point? What, I get one update a year. Like, imagine you buy the 1 year membership. Okay, I get one update a year for what is it, like $60 or $100? I don't know what it is, the year membership. But like, it's just not good enough. It's not good enough. I'm sorry, and we need to do better. Anyways, I'm done yapping. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments below, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thank you for watching, and take care.